beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and today I want to talk about these Tarte palettes from their holiday collection. These are actually sold together as a pair. You can't buy them individually. So this is called the Gilded Glamour Amazonian Clay Eyeshadow Wardrobe. Very convoluted name for two eyeshadow palettes. Sometimes that's just how it goes in the makeup world. I purchased these from Sephora many moons ago during their VIB sale, so I've actually been using these for several weeks now. They're currently sold out at Sephora, but you can still find these on the Tarte website and at Ulta. That's why I really want to make this video, even though by holiday release standards, this is very, very late in the game. These are definitely limited edition, and I do think they're going to sell out soon. So I wanted to throw in my 2 cents because I was really surprised in a good way by these eyeshadow palettes. I always try my best to save my opinions to the end, so I'll reserve my review until the end, but I have been using these for several weeks. I'm going to show you close-ups, swatches, and an eyeshadow tutorial using my favorite of these two palettes. Like I said, these are sold together. The set of 2 is priced at $54 US. If you can find these somewhere on sale, because we are so close to holiday, definitely go for it. But the retail price that I'm seeing on the websites now is $54 for the 2 palettes. So we have the quintessential warm neutrals. This is the Gilded palette, and then the Glamour palette has some smokier tones and some jewel tones in there. Let's start with the Gilded palette first. The very first thing I want to say is I think this packaging is brilliantly done. The size is perfect. The magnetic closure is very sturdy, very satisfying click close type of sound. It's easy to open. These are easy to travel with. It also doesn't feel super cheap, and sometimes limited releases don't get as much attention to detail and as much of a luxe feeling packaging. I also want to say I think the theming is spot on. This is sort of reminiscent of wrapping paper or ribbons, but it's not so on the nose that it becomes cheesy or pigeonholes itself into being a purely, Christmas palette, quote unquote, release. Inside and out, I think these palettes are thoughtfully put together. I think they aren't overworked, and I like the layout here of 3 rows that are kind of individual color stories that all work together. Here, the top row, we have these reds, berries. The center row is very much the classic orange and warm golds, and then the bottom row is just a softer, more neutral take on warm neutrals. They're obviously still warm tones, but just a little bit more toned down and not as in-your-face orangey. I love a palette that is user-friendly, it makes sense, and it feels like there was a purpose behind each shade in here. Now we're going to look at the swatches, finger swatches on top, and then brush swatches directly below. I don't use any primer, I don't dampen my brush, I just use a flat eyeshadow brush for the brush swatches. And you can see some of these mattes are a little bit kind of patchy looking in the swatch. They definitely perform better on the eye than they do in the swatches here. Formula-wise, the mattes are pretty standard. I don't think that they're bad by any means, but I do think that the shimmers are a lot more impressive. I like this very metallic, very opaque coverage type of shimmer shadow. Personally, that's what I'm looking for, versus a more sheer topper type of shimmer shade. So I really think overall pretty consistent performance here, but I think the metallics are really outshining, for lack of a better word, for lack of a better pun. The metallics outshine the mattes, especially in this palette. Now that you've seen the Gilded palette up close, let's dive into the Glamour palette. I'll show you the close-ups, swatches, all that good stuff, and I'll also show you a tutorial using this palette. This is probably unsurprisingly my favorite of the 2, and you'll probably be able to tell by the close-ups, but this palette has been used quite a bit over the past couple weeks. I love how the packaging on these palettes isn't matchy-matchy the exact same, but you can tell they go together. This one has a different base color too. So the inside of the Gilded palette was a golden tone, and this one is a metallic red. Again, I love that you can tell they go together, but they have distinct personalities, distinct differences even in the packaging. This color story is really spot on for me. Again, we have these individual little groupings in the rows, but you don't have to stick to that. You'll see in the eye look that I don't stick to those, but I like that there's a little bit of variation. Each one has some color and some neutrals mixed together, and I'm a jewel tone girl, so I love seeing these jewel tone shades in here, mixed in with some great staple neutral shades. I also really appreciate how the different color groupings in these rows aren't strictly monochromatic, but you can tell that these colors were curated to work together. This palette in particular, I find to be that perfect balance between interesting colors that can really spice up a look and really help you get into a creative eye look type of space, but it's still super approachable. None of these colors are really over the top, bright to the point where they're going to be intimidating to somebody who doesn't wear a lot of colors. This is just so well done. It's hard to find that balance, and not a lot of palettes do that, especially not from really mainstream brands like Tarte. I wish that this color story was released on its own, because I think the Gilded palette, it's fine. It has a lot of mass appeal, but I just don't think it has that special spark like this one does. I know that especially for holiday releases, these flashy, giftable, vault type of products are really popular, but I think that, in all honesty, this Glamour palette could be a long-term saleable product for Tarte. Whereas Gilded doesn't really stand out to me. I mean, even Tarte has the Tartelette Toasted palette. There's 100 different products on the shelf at Sephora that look just like that one. And hey, the packaging's good. The formula is good. I don't think it's a bad palette. I just see this one as such a more impressive standout. And I think that a lot of people are going to be drawn to a color story like this. This mossy green, it's definitely a color. It doesn't turn neutral on the eye. It doesn't turn muddy when it's blended. It's the type of color that people who only wear neutrals may dip their toe into the waters with. Same with the deep navies, the deep jewel tone purples. I just think this palette is especially interesting, and I can kind of take it or leave it with the warm neutrals. But this one I think is worth the whole price that I paid for this vault, just because I've so enjoyed this palette. I keep reaching for it. It's great to pair with other palettes. It's a great little companion. It's the right size. I like the mirror. I like the packaging. Everything about this just genuinely works so well for me, and I find this to be better than a lot of the long-term, long-standing Tarte palettes that they have stood by and sold for years. I think this could really knock a lot of those Tartelette palettes out of the water. And I know people love the Tartelette palettes, okay? I'm not here to be a hater. I'm just saying this is a really, really good, really underrated palette. And I can see so many people, different skin tones, different styles, different expertise levels, loving this and reaching for it year round, not just as a holiday gift. So quality-wise, packaging-wise, these are both fantastic. However, I feel like the Glamour palette is just catching my eye so much more. We have a lot of those true neutral undertone neutrals in here. They're not too warm, they're not too cool, it's not just a bunch of grays. It's really an interesting mix of neutrals and colors, which I love. I love the mix of mattes and shimmers. I think the layout makes sense. I like that there's light, medium, and deep shades. It's just really well-rounded. It's a nice size. The packaging is nice. It all just really works for me. I'm shocked because typically I feel incredibly underwhelmed by Tarte's holiday releases, and I think this is one of the better palettes that I've tried this year. Tarte really just swooped in and surprised me in a good way. I like that. Great candidate for a makeup party. Buy this set. You keep the one you like more and you give the other one to your bestie who will probably like the other color more. It's perfect. Makeup party time. Now's the time when I want to hear what you think about these palettes. Did you pick this set up? Are you interested? Which one of these two is your favorite? I always love to hear what you think about things too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Oh, this sound. That alone is just... Does anybody else love that? This packaging's really good. Really, really good. Weird. Anyway. Okay. Be serious. Nailed it. Yes, that casually sweaty cheek is so good today. I could do this all day. I might. Don't tempt me, because I got a lot of stuff to get done. We are quickly approaching the holiday. Depending on which holiday you celebrate, maybe closer than others. My family celebrates Christmas, and I'm hosting. I'm just hosting my in-laws though. I'm so lucky because I really like my in-laws. I know it's kind of a running joke, like, oh, awful in-laws, but I like my in-laws a lot. I think they're great. So I'm happy that they're gonna be here. They're always fun. May your holiday season be blessed with good in-laws. That's my hope for you. That's some serious well-wishing right there. Okay, gotta go edit, and my camera battery's dying, and I'm running out of memory on my memory card, so this is really the trifecta of it's time to stop rambling and wrap it up, basically is what I'm trying to say. Thanks for watching. You're cool. I'm happy you're here. I'm happy we're YouTube friends, and I hope that you just have a fantastic day, and if you don't have a fantastic day, then I hope tomorrow is at least a little bit better. And I love your face, and I will see you real soon. All right, bye.